Okay, so we're going to talk about personal brand and online appearance. What we're really talking about, well, your personal brand is how you come across, how you put yourself across to other people, and what they would find out about you online is your online appearance. So you think the two are really linked. And essentially, if you were coming to me for an interview and I Googled your name, what would I find out about you? What could I find out about you? What might you be oversharing? Let's have a look at this.
Ik zie een school tegen Antwerpen.
Ja,
Insecten.
dat blieft?
Ik voel twee insecten op je rug. Kan dat?
Ja, vlinders.
Slovenie?
Zo hè.
Een moto. Oranje.
Oui, oui, bien.
Je hebt een vriendin. Julie de... Met wie?
Ja.
Maison rouge, balcon blanc. Ja. Ik zie geld, ik zie transacties. Maar kent je rekeningnummer van buiten? Ik denk dat ik het wel weet. Je staat wel negatief op je bank.
Ja?
97. Last month you spent €200 on alcohol. Vorige maand €300 aan kleding gespendeerd. 8.
Ja.
5. Voor een huis dat van mij gaat veranderen. €795.000.
Ja, maar eigenlijk.
41.
Ja.
Is dat juist?
Ja, dat is juist. Oh my god. Oh nee. Ah, dat is, ik weet niet hoe eng.
Okay, so if I was to look you up on the internet, what would I find out about you? Now, you might think, does my online appearance matter? Well, yeah, because recruiters do check social media accounts. Most recruiters check social media accounts. And about a third will say they've actually not proceeded with somebody because of something they've found on social media. So think about those photos of you on a Friday night partying. Think about other things that other people post. Now, I would say the biggest sort of risk to your online appearance is yourself. And the next biggest risk are your mates, because your mates tag you in stuff. But when you think about it, really, that should be the other way around. The biggest risk is your mates. And then you're the second biggest risk, because you've got little control over what your mates tag you in. And then that's there forever. So have a think about that. Keeping your job, yes. Your boss will check what you're saying about their company, about your place that you work. And some companies, depending on what you do, don't even let you say you work there. So let's say, for example, you worked in the finance department of a very large company. You'd be an ideal target for some of these phishing attacks, what they call courier fraud, where they basically send you an email last thing on a Friday night saying, this is the boss, I need you to pay all this money straight away. If you don't pay it, you're sacked, sort of thing. They will target you. So a lot of companies won't let you say that you work in the finance department. Other companies do sensitive work, and they just won't let you say that you work there, full stop. Because again, it could be classed as what we would call oversharing. You're sharing too much information. You're giving the bad guys just that little bit help. So think about that as well. reputational damage obviously is one of the big things there in terms of keeping your job. They don't want people posting, oh, I hate where I work, it's no good, or actually, did you know we've just sniffed up, we're going to go, we're going to take over, we're doing this great big deal, and then the deal might fall through because of something that you've shared. I think about that. But getting your next job, yes. Now this is interesting because recruiters search Facebook and a thing called LinkedIn, which we're going to talk about in a minute. LinkedIn, think about it as being like Facebook for business, but there are now apps trawling online information, looking for keywords to try and find candidates for jobs, because recruitment is expensive. So they've now automated some of that. And yes, they do look at what you've put online. So in terms of keeping your appearance right online, you'll be doing things like university applications, college applications, job applications. Get a sensible email address. You don't want pinkfluffyslippers@hotmail.co.uk. You know, get yourself something that's relevant. Get yourself something that won't cause anybody any offense, that doesn't make you look stupid. Think about your usernames on Snapchat and Instagram and things like that. Now, on those platforms, you're really talking to your mates. You're talking to your friends. You don't need to use your real name. Obviously, if you use your real name, I can find you. But if you adopt a pseudonym on Instagram or Snapchat, it's far less likely I'll be able to find those pictures that might put me off employing you, or rather put you lower down the list than the person that hasn't got silly pictures on their profile. But think about your old profiles as well. You've probably had a few Snapchat accounts. You might have had a few Instagram accounts going back years and years. If there are any teachers watching this, you might have had a MySpace account even. You need to delete your old stuff, because if you don't delete it, it's still there. Now, in terms of keeping your online appearance, that's important, what you put out there, but also you need to be aware that some of these sites, essentially all these sites that do stuff for free, right? There's nothing free on the internet. If it's free, it means you are the product. Otherwise, how does that company make its business? It's either pushing advertising to you or using the information you've shared with it to sell on to other people. Yeah? So nothing on the internet is free. If it's free, you are the product. Your information is the product. And yes, it's there. I've done presentations to sixth formers and they said, what do you mean they're looking at my information? Well, if you leave it public, anybody can see it. Yeah. But what you've got to think about is the security of your passwords, the security of your email addresses and things like that as well. So I've put some useful websites on the bottom of there. Brand Yourself will tell you how many photos you've posted in compromising situations, etc. You know, you've said you love red wine on a Friday night, for example. It'll pop that up and say, maybe you want to take that down. HaveIBeenPwned.com looks at your email address and it'll tell you if you've been exposed in one of these big data breaches that have happened. So things like the TalkTalk breach over the years. I think there was a Sony one as well. You know, you look at those, your email address or your password or both get leaked out to the world, and LeakPeek looks at those as well. So you can put your username in, you can put your password in, you can put your email address into LeakPeek, and it'll tell you if they're compromised at all. If they are, just change your password. Dead easy. Now, what I was going to say, just going back, if I can go back, well, one of the things about your passwords is you shouldn't share your passwords. But I bet you know your mate's password. Yeah? And if you know your mate's password, they probably know your password. And that's maybe something you should look at. Now, LinkedIn, we've spoken about a little bit briefly. LinkedIn is Facebook for business. That's the best way to describe it. It's where you can put your profile on there to share with other people. Now, you've got to, again, be careful about what you're sharing. You don't want to share too much information. You don't want to put necessarily your full date of birth and your home address. It's not a CV. But this is where I think it's really, really useful platform for you to sell yourself. Yeah. Make sure that your spelling, your grammar, any auto type that your computer or your phone chucks out are the right words. Use a good, sensible photo. This isn't a partying photo, remember. This is a get me a job photo. Yeah. And then on your LinkedIn profile, you can say what you've done. Now that might be a job that you've done. It might be a project that you've worked on. It might be a summer school you've been to. It could be some volunteering that you've done. Yeah. So think about those things. Put those on. If you're involved with the Scouts or anything like that, put it on there, and then ask the people that you've worked with or for, but outside of school, to put a comment on there saying, you know, they came, they turned up when I needed them. Actually, they were 5 minutes early every morning. They were dead keen. They did a really good job. And you know what? I'd give them a job tomorrow. That's the sort of comment that you want on there. Because when somebody else reads it, if I was looking to employ you, if somebody else reads that and they say, that's the sort of person I want working with me. So, yeah, passwords, if you do nothing else, anything to do with money, make sure you've got a unique password on. So if your password does get breached, if it does get leaked, if your mate finds it out, they can't get at your money. Yeah. Look for things that use two-factor authentication. A lot of apps now, you can turn this on, turn it on. What it means is that if you lose your phone or you log in from a strange device that it doesn't recognize, it'll ask to send you a code to your phone. So that's something you know, because you know the password, but also something that you have. You've got that code, and that gives you that it's two factors, something you know, something you have, yeah? And think about things like LastPass. These are password managers. I use one at home, really, really handy. You don't need to remember all your passwords, you store them. What you do have to make sure is that you remember the master password for your password manager. And that's probably something to, if I say write some hints down and put that somewhere very secure. You know, it's a thing like there's a key in a box that's in a locked cupboard, that's in a locked room, that's in a locked house. Yeah, it's layers of security. And the easiest way to think of security is you measure security in time. How long would it take somebody to break into your house? How long would it take somebody to get into your car? If you lost your key, how long would it take you to work out how to get into the house? If there's always an upstairs window open, there's always an upstairs window open. So it's things like that. Think about that. Yeah. But a password manager is really handy. But think about what you share. This is the important thing. Think about the information you're putting on there, that you don't overshare information. You don't compromise your own security. You don't compromise your own safety. Yeah. So in summary, use a sensible email address, use unique passwords and two-factor authentication, especially for anything to do with money. Keep yourself right on social media and delete your old accounts. We're from Dynamo Northeast. Dynamo Northeast is the Northeast Tech Cluster. This is one video in a number that we've produced all around the theme of careers, tips for employability and your online appearance. And Dynamo brings together all sorts of people working in tech companies and organisations with tech departments across the Northeast. We hold events, conferences and awards. We've trained over 100 young people to get them ready for IT apprenticeships, and we won funding for a new school in Newcastle, Northern Futures UTC. Thank you for watching.